There's a moment in many long-term marriages that no one really talks about. It doesn't come with fireworks or shouting matches. It's quiet, subtle. A woman wakes up one day, looks at the man she shared decades with, and feels nothing. Not anger, not hatred, just a kind of emptiness where the warmth used to be. And she wonders, what happened to us? When did I stop feeling close to him? It's a question that catches many older women off guard, especially after years of holding the relationship together through thick and thin. Now, this isn't a dramatic story. This is about real life, about how time changes people, and how the little things we ignore can quietly pile up until one day they start to weigh heavily on the heart. For many women, what they feel isn't dislike in the traditional sense. It's disconnection, a sense that they become invisible in their own marriage. See, when you're younger, love feels simple. It's excitement, attraction, shared dreams. But as life unfolds and responsibilities grow, the energy shifts. Children, jobs, bills, caregiving, it all takes a toll. And somewhere along the way, many women find themselves doing more than their fair share. Not just physically, but emotionally. They become the planners, the worriers, the ones holding all the invisible strings together. And while their husbands may not mean any harm, their silence, their absence, their assumption that everything's fine becomes a quiet heartbreak. The truth is, women age differently, emotionally speaking. As they get older, they crave connection, conversation, empathy. Not just routines and chores. They want to feel heard, not just spoken to. They want to feel seen, not just looked at. But often what they get is indifference. Or worse, a kind of silent dependence where their partner assumes they'll keep doing what they've always done without ever being acknowledged for it. You see, this isn't about fault. It's about awareness. A man might say, "I've been here the whole time. I haven't changed." But to a woman who's carried the weight of emotional labor for years, not changing isn't a compliment. It's part of the problem. Because while she's been evolving, adjusting, and sacrificing, he's been coasting, and what once felt like teamwork now feels like imbalance. What really changes as women age is that their patience wears thin, not because they're bitter, but because they're tired. Tired of being the default caregiver, the default planner, the one always putting others first. Tired of repeating herself. Tired of not being truly listened to. And when that emotional gap goes unaddressed year after year, it starts to feel like loneliness, right next to someone they once couldn't live without. There's also something else at play here: time. As we age, we become more aware of how little of it is left. That sense of urgency makes many women reevaluate their relationships. They begin asking questions they didn't ask in their 40s or 50s. Is this how I want to feel for the rest of my life? Am I truly happy or just comfortable? And if the answer is discomfort dressed as routine, many start pulling back emotionally, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. Let me be clear. It's not about wanting a new relationship. It's about wanting a real one that still has room for kindness, partnership, curiosity, a marriage that isn't just about logistics and shared history, but about emotional connection, even after the kids are gone and the routines have settled into silence. And here's the hardest part. Most women don't talk about it. They carry it quietly, because they don't want to hurt their husband's feelings, because they fear it's too late to change anything, or because they've been conditioned to accept less than they deserve in the name of being a good wife. But deep down, the feeling grows. A quiet disappointment, a longing for something more. So when we say that women start to dislike their husbands as they get older, what we really mean is this. They start to notice the gaps, the missed moments, the years where emotional intimacy was replaced by convenience. And when those moments add up, they begin to wonder if their love has faded, or if it was simply never fully seen for what it was. But this doesn't have to be the end of the story. It can be a turning point, because awareness is the first step to change. And many husbands, once they realize what's happening, are willing to listen, to try, to reconnect. But it starts with honesty, with both people sitting down without blame and saying, I want us to feel close again. I don't want to grow old feeling like strangers. That conversation isn't easy, but it's worth it, because love at this stage of life can be deeper, richer, more meaningful than ever before if both people are willing to show up for it. This conversation, because there's still so much more to uncover, especially about the hidden emotional responsibilities women carry and how they slowly shape the way they feel about their partner. It's easy to underestimate how much a woman remembers. Not just dates or appointments, but the small details, the unspoken burdens, the moments she had to stay strong when no one else noticed. These aren't big, flashy memories. They're subtle ones. The time she quietly handled the bills while he watched TV, the dinner she cooked while feeling unwell, the family gathering she organized, even though she was mentally exhausted. Each one a small act of love, each one a quiet effort. But when those acts are rarely acknowledged, something begins to shift. Many women in their 60s and beyond aren't asking for grand gestures. They don't want fireworks. They want to feel like their effort matters. They want to feel like they're not the only one keeping the relationship afloat. Because after years of giving without much recognition, the heart starts asking, what about me? It's not selfish. It's human. And it's not just the physical workload, it's the mental one. Keeping track of everyone's schedules, medications, birthdays, moods, knowing when the grandkids need new clothes, remembering to call your husband's brother on his birthday, being the emotional glue that holds the family together. That mental labor, though invisible, is exhausting, and when it's taken for granted, it builds resentment slowly, like water dripping on stone. Husbands often don't see this, not because they don't care, but because they've never had to carry it. They think, she's always done it, and so they assume she'll keep doing it. But just because she can doesn't mean she should, and just because she's done it for decades doesn't mean it hasn't cost her something emotionally. Over time, the imbalance becomes more noticeable, especially when retirement hits. Suddenly, both spouses are home. There's more time, but often less communication. The man may settle into a routine of rest, TV, hobbies, naps. Meanwhile, the woman finds herself busier than ever, cooking, cleaning, managing the house, all while still trying to nurture a relationship that feels one-sided. And the irony? He thinks everything is fine, but she feels lonelier than she ever did when he was working full-time. This is when things begin to unravel emotionally, not loudly, not publicly, but deeply. A woman might begin to avoid conversations. She may stop trying to connect. She may become quieter, more reserved, not because she's angry, but because she's tired. Emotionally tired of trying to be everything while asking for nothing. And it's not just about fairness, it's about dignity. A woman who has supported, nurtured, and stood by her husband for years begins to crave being seen as a full person again. Not just someone who makes life easier for others, but someone whose thoughts and feelings are worth listening to. Someone whose day is just as important. Someone whose presence still matters. When that recognition fades, it's not unusual for affection to fade too. She may still love him, yes, but that deep emotional spark, it dims when she feels unappreciated. And over time, it can feel like she's living with someone who doesn't even really see her anymore. And let's talk about something many couples overlook. Communication changes with age. Early on, there were deep talks, laughter, shared dreams. But years later, many couples barely speak beyond the basics. What's for dinner? Did the mail come? Where are the keys? That rich emotional connection becomes replaced with routine. And for women who crave conversation, who want to be emotionally engaged, this feels like starvation. What's worse is when she tries to talk and gets dismissed. When she expresses her needs and he says, "You're overreacting," or "I don't want to argue." Over time, those moments teach her to keep things inside, and silence becomes the new normal. But silence, in marriage, is never neutral. It always speaks. This isn't just a matter of emotional frustration. It's also about missed opportunities. Because as we age, we realize how precious time really is. A woman in her 60s or 70s doesn't want to spend her final decades feeling disconnected. She wants meaning. She wants partnership. She wants to wake up next to someone who still cares about her mind, her heart, not just the routines of the day. And yet many women don't voice this. They carry it silently because they don't want to upset the peace or because they feel like they've waited too long. But deep down, they feel it. Every day that passes without a genuine, "How are you really feeling?" is a day that widens the gap. Every evening spent in silence rather than shared conversation is a missed chance to rebuild what once felt unbreakable. But here's the truth. It's not too late. Disconnection is not the same as disinterest. That emotional distance can still be closed, but only if both people are willing to step forward, willing to admit what's been missing, willing to show up, not just in body, but in spirit. Because women don't just start disliking their husbands with age. They start to feel the weight of years of emotional neglect. They start to ask themselves, if not now, when? And if they feel like nothing will change, they stop trying to fix it. Not out of anger, but out of quiet surrender. But even that can shift. Even that can heal. Because the heart, even when bruised, still wants to be held. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the disappointment. It's the silence that follows it. A woman in her later years doesn't stop caring. She just stops hoping. Hoping he'll notice. Hoping he'll change. Hoping he'll say something that makes her feel alive again. And when hope fades, the heart doesn't rage. It simply closes. Not with a slam, but with a quiet sigh. But that's not the end of the story. Not if both people are still in the room. Not if there's still breath in the lungs and a flicker of curiosity in the soul. Because here's something powerful, something often forgotten with age. Love can be rekindled. And sometimes it burns even stronger after weathering the storm. Women don't crave perfection. They crave presence. They crave effort. The tiniest shift, like a husband saying, "Tell me what's been weighing on you lately," can open a door that's been shut for years. It's not the solution that matters. It's the sincerity, the willingness to show up without defense, the courage to ask, "How can I make you feel more loved?" and truly mean it. And for men who are watching, let me tell you this clearly. It's not too late to reconnect. It's not too late to step out of the routine and step into your partner's emotional world. You don't have to fix everything. Just start noticing again. Start listening again. Sit beside her, not just physically, but emotionally. Ask her what she dreams about now, what scares her, what excites her, what she misses most about your early days together. You might be surprised at how much she still wants to open up, how deeply she longs to feel close again, even if she hasn't said it out loud. Because love in older age isn't about big moments. It's about the daily ones. The small, deliberate acts of care that say, "I still choose you." Now for women, if this is hitting close to home, let me offer you this. Your needs are not too much. Your desire to feel emotionally safe, supported, and seen is not unreasonable. You've spent a lifetime giving. It's okay to ask for something in return. It's okay to say, "I miss feeling close to you," without guilt. Your voice matters. Your feelings are valid, and your happiness is still worth fighting for. Sometimes, the best thing a woman can do for her relationship is to speak up with tenderness and strength. To say, "I love you, but I need more from you emotionally. I don't want to feel alone in this marriage." Those words can be a beginning, not an ending. And if he listens, really listens, that's where the healing begins. Not in grand gestures, but in the slow return to mutual respect, shared moments, and genuine companionship. The kind where two people walk side by side again, not just through the house, but through life. For both partners, aging together doesn't have to mean growing apart. It can mean rediscovering each other, rediscovering the laughter, the stories, the dreams that got buried under years of busyness and expectations. It means waking up one day and deciding, we're going to choose connection again and again. And yes, it takes effort. But so did everything else you built together. Raising a family, managing a home, getting through the hard times. Rebuilding love is just another kind of work. Only this time, it's work that gives back tenfold. So whether you're the one who feels distant or the one who's just now realizing your partner has pulled away, take the first step. A small one, a soft one. Ask how they're really doing. Sit beside them and hold their hand. Share a memory. Share a silence. Just be there, fully. Because that's how love breathes again. You don't have to start over. You just have to start noticing again. Start appreciating again. Start listening, without trying to fix, without trying to win. Just listen. Let your partner know they're still your favorite person to grow old with. And mean it. In the end, love doesn't vanish with age. It just needs attention. And for many women who feel unseen by their husbands, the solution isn't a new life. It's a renewed connection. One built on kindness, on gratitude, on small daily choices to be gentle with one another again. So here's to those quiet moments that matter. The ones where you pause, look across the table and say, I still see you. I still choose you. Let's not give up on this love. Because no matter how old we get, it's never too late to feel truly loved and to love deeply in return.